Well, hello. Today I have Kelly Clausen with me to talk about her experience in the Set Free Academy. So thank you so much for being here, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
So you've done the Set Free Academy 12 months and you're kind of in this extended program, like almost like a bit of a mastery program where you're now stepping into some leadership with the new women coming into the academy, which is so exciting. So I'd love to know though, if we think back to, before you came into the academy, what was life like for you and what problems were you trying to solve with the Set Free Academy program?
Well, life before the Set Free Academy is I had people who came into my life who said, yeah, I want to help you, get better at this, get better at that. But really all they wanted to do was change me to their way of thinking, to their way of what they thought I should be. And and that didn't work out. I mean, all it ended up doing is hurting me. But when you came to me with this opportunity, you proved that you truly cared about me and you wanted God's best for me. Not Alana's best for me, but God's best for me.
Oh, I love that. Well, and I know what it's like too, because I've been through that too, where other people have tried to mold me into who they wanted me to be. And it just felt wrong because how are they the experts on me? God is the expert on Kelly. You're the expert on Kelly. I just help reveal all of that so that you get that deeper understanding of who you are in him and a deeper understanding of him, right? Because a lot of times, as you know, in your past, I think you struggled to really see God for who he was. Is that correct?
Yeah, I struggled to see him as a father. I saw him more of a dictator, punisher type person. And through the program, that has been changing.
Mm.
I have learned to, I haven't quite learned to call him daddy yet, but, it's better than it was. And I'm getting stronger in my relationship with him.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. So what made the Set Free Academy stand out for you from other options?
This is going to probably be a hard thing for you to swallow, but honestly, it was you.
Aw.
You genuinely cared about me from the time you started talking to me. You said, no matter what, even if I did not join your program, you would still care about me. And there's a lot of people that if you stop doing their program or you stop selling something for them or whatever, they drop you like a hot potato. And you didn't do that. Even in the times that I've probably tested your patience to push you away, you have remained faithful to your call, to your ministry, to help me and to help me move forward in my relationship with God.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because I care because I get it. I know what it's like to be in that position where I don't feel good enough. I don't know what to do to fix the problems. And I think with you, pushing me away at times or testing things at times, I've been that person. So I understand. So it's like I can hold you through that because I know what it's like and I know what I needed. I just needed somebody to care about me and help just show me the way a little bit and guide me. So I love that you felt supported in that. Is that correct? You felt supported through all those times when you were kind of maybe pushing away a little bit or not sure about things?
Yeah, you have totally been supportive. You give me tough love when I need it. You give me that nice little nudge when I need it. And you've actually given me opportunity to grow and be vulnerable in the group by sharing things, being a moderator, also to you've actually sent other people to me to help them with their questions. So you've kind of uplifted me into a different level, so to speak.
Well, you had these leadership qualities when I met you, but I don't think you were ready to really step into them. I don't think you had the confidence or the courage to actually step in. But then as you went through the program, and you can, kind of explain this in your own words, but I've seen a lot more vulnerability from you where, it was such a struggle to be vulnerable for you for many, many years. And that courage and that confidence to step into that vulnerability and just be who you are. So maybe you can explain that a little bit in your own words.
Well, being vulnerable in the past, when I did that, I would get basically shut down. I would get stifled. I would get kind of basically stay in your lane kind of thing. Not, this isn't for you. You don't, you're not qualified to do this. You can't do this or you can't do that. And you've actually encouraged my vulnerability, which was not always easy. I can remember one call where I literally was in tears and felt naked before the entire group that we were on a group call, and yet very lovingly supported by you, by Cinta, by the ladies in the group. And that helped me to realize that being vulnerable isn't something that I can be afraid of. It's something to embrace.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is such a huge, realization for so many of us, is that we can be vulnerable and still feel safe, like to not feel like we're in danger, or other people are going to judge us or, shun us for being who we are, because, you showed up in that group in a powerful way. And those women were inspired by your vulnerability. And that helps create the space for other people to do the same thing. Right. And that's why I've loved watching you become more of a leader, because it's just been amazing to see you become, a bit of a mentor to the newer women coming in who, haven't seen everything the program has to offer. From your perspective, having gone through it and being on the other side, you can say, hey, you know what? I can share some of my experience with you. So that's amazing. So I'm curious, what was the obstacle that almost prevented you from doing the Set Free Academy?
Actually, it was probably two things. One was the trust factor, because how did I know I could trust you, since honestly, I didn't know you, and I'm one of the odd ones. Everybody else comes to you wanting to be in the academy, but you came to me offering to help me. And whether I chose in or not, the other obstacle was definitely the finances. But every time, and even still to this day, every time I've had to make a payment to you and I wasn't sure where the money was going to come, the money has come every time.
Yeah, I think that's so important for the women watching this to hear, because we all have that fear when we're going to make a big investment in ourselves or in anything. It's like, is God going to provide? Right? Is the money going to be there? Especially when it comes to something like this, where we're actually doing it for ourselves. Most people don't have a budget for, deep dive intensive coaching programs for, healing and freedom. It's not like we have a line in our budget for that, right? So it's kind of like coming up with the money and then trusting that God is going to provide. So what made you decide that that significant investment was worth it?
Because I was tired of my life the way it was. I was going nowhere fast. My mom had died 6 months prior. I was losing my home. I needed to make a change. And honestly, I don't think if I'd have made that change, I would not be in North Carolina right now. I'd still be in a downward spiral somewhere in Indiana. But the interesting thing is I figured out how much I invested, or how much, invested in myself last year with working with you. And I would have never dreamed that I could have spent thousands of dollars for a coach, because it was thousands of dollars last year that I paid you to work with you. And it's funny because I think of that now and I'm like, I would have never dreamed that 2 years ago, that I could have paid somebody this kind of money, but also have somebody who actually significantly cares about what actually happens to me.
That's amazing. Like, just how you've experienced that, being on the other side and going, wow, I can't believe that somehow that money came. It came into my account when I needed it. It was there. I never would have dreamed, that would have all been available for me, but it was. And it's been so smooth for you, which has been amazing. God has consistently provided, which is who he is, right? We step into that place of partnership with him, and he does provide, which is amazing. So, you've invested this money. Like, what would you say have been the biggest changes in you since starting the program?
I have more confidence in myself. I have trusted God more when it comes to finances, because for almost half the year last year, I didn't work. I really didn't have a steady income coming in, and yet God provided. So that was a huge boost to my faith, that, even when I wasn't working, he provided. that is huge in the fact that my faith is growing. I've started to like myself better. God has actually started allowing me to write some things that I would have never thought I could have wrote before. I still have a hard time believing sometimes that I write it, but he's allowing me to do that. So that's a huge change, because before I would have never put stuff that I wrote out there for 3,000 over 2,000 people to read if they chose to read it. I mean, that was just not something I would have done before this program. I wouldn't have taken on the leadership of trying to help other women do this and go through this and change. I mean, you've given me the opportunity as a moderator to help you with this intensive by hearing some of these women's stories. And 2 years ago, I would have never been able to handle that. The stories that I'm hearing, I would have never been able to emotionally support myself to be able to handle that, because I would have taken on their problems as my own, and it would have put me in a downward spiral, which it's not now.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's such a good point, because you've been able to create better boundaries, because you see your worth and value, you see where you end and somebody else begins, and you don't take on that energy from them, because you're more of a self-cleaning oven now. You can kind of just wash those things away, right? And I mean, you bake, so it's a great analogy for somebody who bakes, right? So what has exceeded your expectations in the program?
You, for one, you're constantly cheering me on to do things that I don't think I can do. And that's amazing. Finding a buddy has been amazing, because we talk almost every day, my buddy and I, whether it's texting or calls, we communicate. So we know what's going on in each other's lives, which has been huge. And that's it's been a blessing to have a buddy to do this.
Yeah, it's so great when you come into the program and you find women that you connect with, and you found somebody that, like many of the women in the program, you all have so much in common, but then you find a few people that you really, really connect with, and you create those deep, deep, long-term relationships with them.
To have somebody that you can connect with, who gets you, if you say, hey, can you talk? It's powerful to have somebody there to support you and you support them. And to know, yes, I'm on the new module you just recently created after a year of doing this. I'm on that module and she's on module 2, but I can help her through things because of that. And the others. I mean, I told someone the other day, I said, it's great that they all have people that they can go to who can help answer questions when they need. And that's a beautiful thing to have in that group.
Oh yeah. And you've been such a blessing to these women who, look up to you. And, when you started the program, did you ever think you'd have a bunch of women who look up to you kind of as like a mentor?
I wouldn't have thought that, back in 2020, when I began that this is where I'd be now, and the comfortability I have in being in my own skin to help others.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just, the fact that you have come so far and now you're able to mentor other women is just amazing. Yeah, I love it. So why would you recommend the Set Free Academy to other women?
Because if they truly want healing, it is a God-focused program. You never, yes, you say, yes, I've been through similar things, but you also, you don't make it about you. You make it about God. The whole thing is about God and me and my changing what's in my way of seeing things, my healing, and how God orchestrates that through the program. It's totally God-focused, biblical-based, loving, supportive group of women. Even the people that don't always come on very often all get love and support for everything that they do in the group.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a great community of women. And that's why, we have a call with everybody who comes in to make sure that it's a good fit. We want to make sure the new woman who wants to come into the program is a good fit for the women who are already there, and that the women who are there are going to be a good fit for that woman, so she feels held and supported. So it really is for a specific type of woman, right? A Christian woman who's gone through some traumatic experiences in her life, or abuse in her life, or pain and hurt, and really wants to overcome, but in a shorter amount of time than spending years in therapy, right? Because we can spend years and years doing all the things. And then you get to a point where you're just ready for that deep dive to actually really get that healing and freedom with the Lord at the center, which is the most important part. So that's beautifully said. Thank you, Kelly. And so what would you tell a woman who's watching this right now, who's considering doing the program?
Book a call with you, first of all. Pray, most of all. And trust that if God wants him in this program, that he's going to provide the means to do it. But also, if you're going to join in, be all in. Don't just give it lip service. Do the work. Sometimes it's not always easy, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, it's so important to pray and feel the Lord's blessing, because if you don't feel that he's opening the door for you, it's going to make it really difficult to come into full agreement with him on it. And that trust aspect, to trust that he's going to provide the time, the finances, everything, that is so important. And what can often happen when we're looking at doing a program that's for deep healing and freedom in the name of Jesus Christ is that the enemy does not want that. So he will try to discourage and make people afraid and worried about all of this. So it really, like you said, is praying and stepping into that place of trust with the Lord and saying, I know God is bigger than anything else in this world, and he can provide everything I need to be able to do this. So well said. And, is there anything else that you'd like to comment on or say about the Set Free Academy before we finish up?
That it's the best investment in myself that I've made. I mean, I went through counselors, self-help books, everything, and nothing has worked like this has worked. But I've also probably put in more effort into doing the work. And I've taken responsibility for my own healing by not blaming others. I'm stopping to blame the others. I'm stopping to using the excuses, and I'm stepping up to the plate and doing what's best for me to get healthy.
Yeah. And that's so important, taking that responsibility and choosing in, and knowing that, trusting the process and believing that God does have something so much better for you on the other side, which he has shown you in this beautiful experience you've had. So I so appreciate you being here and sharing your experience of the Set Free Academy. And I've just loved watching your growth and continued growth as you're now mentoring and leading others. So you are such a blessing.
Well, thank you. So are you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.